Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. NBA trade deadline has come and gone. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at HGrahamNFL. He's at Chase_Sr. We're going to recap every single trade. We'll spend more time on the more valuable trades. We'll kind of sprint through the lesser ones here. Not too much to this one, Chase, but I do like JaVale McGee heading from the Cavs to the Denver Nuggets.
A minor deal today, but a deal that could have a major impact on the Denver Nuggets. They're currently 5th in the Western Conference. Outside of Jokic, they don't have a reliable big.
Yep.
Other than Bol, who did not get dealt today. So JaVale McGee, championship playoff pedigree from his time with the Lakers last year, as well as with the Warriors in years past. He will be a rim-running big for the squad.
DeLon Wright to the Kings. This one doesn't make sense to me. 2 non-contending teams. Pistons clear some cap space there, but other than that, I thought Sacramento had a very, very bizarre day here at the NBA trade deadline. We'll go back. We'll rewind the clock a little bit. Trevor Ariza to the Heat. We wanted to include this because this is a guy that's played in a lot of playoff runs.
So many playoff games throughout his career. He has not played this year after getting traded to the Thunder because of personal reasons. Something tells me those personal reasons, they're going to be solved, and now Trevor Ariza will now hop on board the Miami Heat to try and win a championship.
A similar kind of trade here in terms of a contending team getting a vet. P.J. Tucker in this 3-team trade to Milwaukee.
Here at Chat Sports, we've been talking about P.J. Tucker for months, seemingly, and he finally gets dealt. This happened last week, which kind of fell under wraps because NFL free agency was just so wild. This improves the Bucks' depth. It also gives them playoff experience and a little bit of toughness and an edge, which I like.
Yeah, so P.J. Tucker lands in Milwaukee as a part of a 3-team trade. Maybe the biggest one of the day, although Victor Oladipo got dealt. Nikola Vucevic, he goes to Chicago, and don't overlook Al-Farouq Aminu. This is a guy who can give you some minutes off the bench, but Vuce lands with the Bulls.
The Bulls came out of nowhere and made the first significant trade today.
They
put a ball on the tee, and they went swinging, and they hit a grand slam, in my opinion. I love Vucevic to the Bulls. Now, you might be saying, why would they make a splash bringing in Vucevic this year? Well, they're contending for a playoff spot now because of that new playoff format. But looking ahead, this allows the Bulls to be in the Eastern Conference playoff discussion for a couple of years. It looks as though Chicago is going to hold on to Zach LaVine, who's averaging around 28 points per game, and they have a solid core. They also have a culture built by Billy Donovan. Vucevic will be able to slide in there. And finally, he goes to a large market, Harrison, where he's going to get the proper attention because this guy is a perennial all-star and an excellent premier player.
Cross-sport reference, Vucevic stuck in Orlando is like Joey Votto stuck in Cincinnati.
Yes.
People don't understand how great these players actually are. Let us know who won the Nikola Vucevic trade. Type O for Orlando, type C for Chicago. How about this? We'll just make this the pinned comment on today's video. Type O for Orlando, C for Chicago. Who won the Nikola Vucevic trade? Another sell by the Magic here. Evan Fournier for a couple of seconds. I like this for Boston.
Yeah, Magic realized, hey, we're not contending this year or for years in the future. Let's sell, and let's get assets back. Included in that, Evan Fournier going to the Boston Celtics. Now, it's not the big that I thought Boston should have acquired, but Evan Fournier, he's going to be able to make plays, whether that be as a standstill shooter, off the dribble, very versatile, can play a little defense as well. He's averaging close to 20 points per game, gives the Celtics a much-needed spark.
Shrug emoji on this one. Troy Brown, Moe Wagner to the Bulls, and I believe Wagner's been moved again, if I'm assuming that correctly, so stay tuned on that. Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchison to the Wizards, swapping into the rotation type of pieces. The Celtics did end up acquiring Moe Wagner for Daniel Theis. Kind of puzzling here. Theis is a good energy guy, at least. I don't really get this one.
My thought process here is maybe Brad Stevens wanted a more athletic big than Daniel Theis. And Theis doesn't give you much in terms of explosiveness, athleticism, or age. Moe Wagner, stretch the floor a little bit more with him than you do with Daniel Theis, even though Theis throws up some threes. Wagner, maybe a little bit more consistent from outside, but kind of a puzzling deal.
Yeah, so we'll see if he offers anything to the Boston Celtics whatsoever as they move on from Theis and bring in Wagner. Another Orlando Magic trade, Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. Gary Clark involved in that trade as well. Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a future first back to the Magic.
Love this deal for both sides. For the Nuggets, they get a player who's about to be unleashed, and NBA fans are about to realize and notice that Aaron Gordon is a really good player. He's averaging around 14 points per game this year. When he is engaged, he can lock down the opposing team's number 1 or number 2 option, which on a team that kind of lacks a lockdown defender, Aaron Gordon can be that. And then I think the Magic, they get some decent assets here. Gary Harris's contract, it's pretty fat. They can afford him now. RJ Hampton, first-round pick, has some potential, and a future first, too, to start to build and rebuild if you're the Magic.
I like the Nuggets moves today. Aaron Gordon, JaVale McGee, they got better, and that's what you want to do at the trade deadline. Moe Wagner, who was a part of that Celtics trade, of course. So let's talk Aaron Gordon, though, a little bit further in detail on this one. You think he could be unleashed in Denver?
I do, because he's shooting around 40% from 3, and his game has developed from the time he got drafted number 4 overall out of Arizona until now. He used to just be a high flyer, an uber athletic force who could really just jump high and give you an athletic boost and presence. Aaron Gordon is a well-rounded, all-around player. We just haven't been able to see it because he's been playing for a Magic team that, hey, you know, they've been in the bunker of the NBA, and in a small market, players like Aaron Gordon don't get the necessary attention. He will start to get that attention now.
Dare I say, it hasn't been Magic City and Orlando. That is another town in the NBA. If you know, you absolutely know. So Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets. I'm a big fan of that move. Hey, we'll break down more trades for you guys, but this is why you subscribe to the channel, which you should do while you answer this question. Type in for the Magic, in for the Nuggets. Who won the Aaron Gordon trade? I think we're in agreement. I think this is a win-win for both sides.
I agree with that.
So, in for Magic, in for Nuggets. Get your votes in. If you love what we do at Chat Sports, if you're a big fan of what we're about, hit that sub button. We've almost gotten 1,000 new subs today already. Let's continue to grow that number. I think we were over 1,000 today already. What am I talking about?
11,000 viewers,
Subscribe.
too.
YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. You guys are the best. NFL and NBA videos on a daily basis. We'll go through some more trades here. Nemanja Bjelica to the Miami Heat. They also added Victor Oladipo, which we'll break down in a second.
People might look at Bjelica and they're like, cool, you know, he's only averaging 9-10 points per game. As a stretch forward coming off the bench, really valuable addition for the Miami Heat as they try to make it back to the NBA Finals for a second consecutive year. And it's these types of players who really bring a lot of value and can change the course of a season.
3-team trade from earlier. We'll just focus on George Hill mostly here. Sixers didn't want to overpay on Lowry. They settled for George Hill.
It feels like for the last 10-plus years, every time you watch the NBA playoffs, George Hill is playing for a playoff team and a contender. So he brings a veteran presence to a Sixers team that has Danny Green and now George Hill to be those veteran leaders for a team that, in terms of the playoffs, is somewhat inexperienced because they haven't advanced past the second round. And at the point guard spot, he'll be able to play point and distribute late in games, which then allows Ben Simmons, who still won't shoot, to play in the dunker spot alongside Joel Embiid. I do like this, and the Sixers didn't have to give up much.
I like Norman Powell to Portland. This was one of my favorite trades of the day. Kind of slipped through the cracks there, but I think it's an upgrade, and I think it gives Portland some defense and another scorer as he's really emerged offensively this year.
The casual NBA fan doesn't understand how good Norman Powell has been this year. He's averaging almost 20 points per game. He's shooting almost 50% from the floor. In the month of March and change,
been unconscious.
He is averaging almost 26 points per game. So this has been a high-volume player who's been getting around 34 or so minutes a night. And, hey, Norman Powell, C.J. McCollum, and Dame Lillard, that is an offensive trio I can't wait to watch.
We won't waste much time here. Matt Thomas to the Jazz on the Raptors. They didn't trade Kyle Lowry, so that's a big L for them. Rajon Rondo to the Clippers. Lemon Pepper Lou to Atlanta. Say it with me, Magic City. A couple of second-round picks as well.
Clippers, they've been bereft of a point guard who can really just get things going offensively, set Paul George and Kawhi Leonard up, dish the basketball, put his teammates in the right position, and just be an overall leader. And yeah, Rajon Rondo, you can say what you want about him. He's popped around to a bunch of different teams. He was so valuable for the Lakers last year. LeBron and every player on that roster will tell you that. And while Lou Williams has been in the thick of things as a six-man candidate for really his entire career, and as a bucket getter, doesn't give you anything defensively or at the point guard spot.
Him and Trae Young,
Rondo will do that.
If they're on the court together, you're going to give up a lot of points. I'll just say that.
Shoot a lot of threes.
Comment Magic City. Come on. If you don't know, remember Lemon Pepper Lou left the bubble last year for a family issue. Then when he came back, made a little pit stop in Atlanta, picked up some Magic City wings. If you don't know the details, Google it. Trust me. Comment Magic City. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But just type Magic City. Terrence Davis to the Kings. Don't really care. Raptors big losers for
7 points a night.
For not trading Kyle Lowry. Couldn't think of his name there.
Yeah, like if you're Raptors fans, you get to retain, your franchise leader and franchise face. You do lose Norman Powell, and you lose Terrence Davis. I guess you could come to grips with that because if you want the Raptors to contend and you want that rebuilding process to maybe accelerate a little bit, you hold on to Kyle Lowry. I thought for sure he was going to get dealt, but I guess what this indicates is that the Raptors' asking price was just way too high.
Little Warriors move here. They just move on from Marquese Chriss, luxury tax relief. We thought they might be more involved. Kelly Oubre does not head out, so they do that. They do ship out Brad Wanamaker here to the Charlotte Hornets. As we film this, we don't have return details. It might just be another luxury tax move here.
Yeah, luxury tax move, but also basically what the Warriors are
clearing
telling Jordan
spots
Poole.
For the buyout market, maybe.
Clearing roster spots for the buyout market. Maybe they've decided to sell. Also, this is a message to Jordan Poole. We drafted you in the first round. We saw potential in you. You've been balling out straight up over the last few weeks as injuries have hit that team. Now this is his opportunity to get more consistent minutes. And Brad Wanamaker, he's Brad Wanamaker.
Who is the biggest trade deadliner winner this year? Obviously, it's come and gone. Let us know. Biggest deadline winner in 2021. How about Oladipo? How about a player? He gets out of Houston and he gets to Miami. That's a big win for him.
And this is his third team in a single season.
Yep.
So he went from Indiana, then he went to Houston. Houston lost 20 straight, and now Victor Oladipo, a player who's been rumored to really like Miami. I think he's going to go in that basketball culture. He's going to fit in really well. And when he's upright and healthy and at full strength, Victor Oladipo is a really good player. So in terms of the future, the now, Heat winners, and Oladipo definitely a big winner.
So get your votes in on this one. We do have the trade details for the J.J. Reddick trade. Nikola Vucevic also to Dallas on that one. James Johnson, Wesley Iwundu in a second-round pick. This is a huge win for Dallas. Johnson had kind of faded out of the rotation in recent weeks. Wes Iwundu was their last man on their roster. He beat out J.J. Barea for that final roster spot. Second-round pick, who cares? You get a guy in J.J. Reddick who shot it better as of late. He's up to 36% three-point shooting now after starting ice cold this season. I like this for Dallas.
This is a great move for Dallas. This is one of my favorite prospective moves yesterday that the Dallas Mavericks could make. In shipping out James Johnson, they're able to clear out $15 million in salary, allowing them to absorb and bring in J.J. Reddick. Why James Johnson was making that much money, I have zero clue.
He was a part of the free agent year where all the C team players got paid the bag. Remember Bismack Biyombo that offseason.
Yeah.
So J.J. Reddick to Dallas. I like that move overall. And then the one that came in 10, 11 minutes after the deadline, Victor Oladipo to the Heat, Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and then a draft swap. It could change my opinion on how I feel about this if it's a first-round swap. But if it's a second-round swap, I'm surprised the Rockets couldn't get more.
It must have gotten to the point where Houston was like, oh, no.
We got to get something.
There's no market for Victor Oladipo. We have zero leverage. Let's try to get something back. If I'm the Rockets, you couldn't put Kendrick Nunn in that deal?
Yeah,
Kendrick
seriously.
Nunn's not going to get any run now with Oladipo.
Honestly, they might buy out Olynyk and or Bradley. Keeping those guys does nothing for you.
So basically for James Harden, other than draft picks, no players. Houston.
The Rockets have flamed out the last few months, but Oladipo to Miami, we'll spend just a couple moments on that. He wants to be there. I like it. I think a winning environment will increase his level of play, and Jimmy Buckets wanted him, so he got him.
Yeah, so going back to Houston, if you're a sports fan of any Houston professional team,
oh boy,
tough doing over the last year and a half.
It's been a rough 18 months.
Yeah,
there is no doubt about that. I think that's all the trades. So there you have it. We'll end on this one. We're still going to stay live if you're watching live, but we'll recap this section here. Who is the biggest trade deadline loser so far? Still think the Rockets are up there.
Rockets. Warriors fans will say Warriors, but what realistic
what were they going to do?
Trade were the Warriors going to make any type of ripple effect in the Western Conference? I didn't see one unless they traded Bradley Beal or traded for Bradley Beal and gave up James Wiseman and a protected pick. But as I scan the comment section on our Warriors channel, anytime I mentioned James Wiseman in a trade, people were attacking me. So they didn't want to give up James Wiseman. So this is what you get.
Yeah. So let us know who is the biggest trade deadline loser.